Everyone. It's Mr. Cinema King here. Wanted to log on today and talk a little bit about one of my favorite movies of all time, a movie that I hold very near and dear to my heart, and that, of course, is the Johnny Depp classic Edward Scissorhands. Stars Johnny Depp, Diane Wiest, Anthony Michael Hall, a very young Anthony Michael Hall, Winona Ryder, of course, Kathy Baker, of course, the very brilliant Vincent Price, who did other movies such as House of Wax, and, well, that's the only one I can remember right now at the top of my head, the original House of Wax. Of course, it also stars Alan Arkin, who also went on to play in Get Smart as Chief. Really, I love this movie for so many reasons. The main reason is, in the beginning of the movie, Edward Scissorhands was kind of an outcast, and people really didn't, when they brought him down, people really didn't, they accepted him for who he was. At first, they really didn't, kind of fear him like you would expect. I mean, a man with scissors for hands sounds more like a horror movie than a fantasy. Although this movie, towards the end of it, kind of did turn to be a little bit scary, which is what I liked. You got to see Edward Scissorhands be gentle. You got to see him be caring, loving, and then at the end, he just flips. And, of course, he's got all these scars on him, and basically Vincent Price just created this man because he was a very lonely inventor up there in that creepy house. And it also touches on the fact of immortality a lot because, of course, Edward Scissorhands never dies in the film. It's Winona Ryder's character is basically telling the story to her granddaughter. Not sure who it is that plays the older version of Winona Ryder. I don't think she does. Look it up real quick and find out. But yeah, one of my YouTube friends, Wild Man Dion, kind of suggested to me, you know what, I'm a big movie fan. Maybe I should start doing some movies. And I kind of agreed with him. What better way to start out than with my favorite movie of all time, which, of course, is Edward Scissorhands. I love the scene when he's trying to eat with the scissors, and he's got the pea, and he keeps dropping it. I like that scene a lot. I also like the scene with, when Kathy Baker's character is basically trying to seduce him, and it doesn't work, and he doesn't know what's going on. I thought that was one of the very most hilarious scenes in the whole movie, was that. Actually, I'm looking at IMDb, and I do not see it on here. I do not see who played her on here. So, obviously, now in this movie, Jim is kind of the antagonist, because, of course, he's with Winona Ryder, and Edward Scissorhands falls in love with her. And I love this movie because Tim Burton's one of my favorite directors. Actually, probably is my favorite director. I've loved almost every movie that he did, except for the Planet of the Apes remake, because he totally fucked that one up. Johnny Depp is my favorite actor, and Tim Burton's my favorite director, so it's obvious that one of the movies that they did together would be my favorite movie, and the next, of course, is Edward Scissorhands. Ever since I've seen this movie, I've been fascinated with movies and always wanted to do something to do with them, whether it's acting, writing, directing, somehow be involved with some big film that people remember for the rest of their lives, which is what I think is Edward Scissorhands is. It's kind of one of those movies that if you see it and you enjoy it, it's one of those movies that you'll never forget. And I never get tired of watching it. I know I watch it every Christmas because it's a great Christmas movie because it ends around Christmas time in the plot line. And really, some other good actors that are in this were Owen Jones, who's in a lot of the Tim Burton movies. She was also in Mars Attacks. Johnny Depp and Tim Burton worked together in a lot of movies. Of course, Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, another one of my favorites, which is odd because I do not like musicals whatsoever. But I love Sweeney Todd as well because it kind of reminded me of Edward Scissorhands because, of course, he was a barber in Edward Scissorhands a little bit too. Snip, 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 snip with the hair. And I don't know. Edward Scissorhands is the one Halloween costume I've always wanted to get, but it always costs too much. One year I'd hopefully like to be able to dress up as Edward Scissorhands. I think that'd be the coolest. That's got to be the coolest Halloween costume I've ever seen. It's the coolest movie I've ever seen. I, of course, have the widescreen anniversary edition. I got this before I upgraded to Blu-ray. It's one of those movies I wouldn't mind giving to somebody else if I upgraded to Blu-ray because it's a great movie. I think everybody should see it. It's kind of one of those preparatory movies that preps you for horror, much as Gremlins is. I think it kind of preps young adults into getting to more adult films. And just, I'm reading the back here and it says it's from Tim Burton, comes an unforgettable fairy tale. There's no better way to describe that. It's simply unforgettable. I mean, there are so many great scenes in this movie that it's clearly, without a doubt, a masterpiece, and I think one of the best films ever made. And Johnny Depp really, I think this is the film that really launched the rest of his career, because I think in Johnny Depp, and there's two characters that come to mind right away, and that's Edward Scissorhands and Jack Sparrow, of course. I also think of some other characters that he's been, like Ichabod Crane, but Edward Scissorhands really was the one that launched me into wanting to do something with movies. He looks scary, but he's actually a very sweet person, and I think it's a good message it teaches you not to judge people by their looks, not to judge people by who they are on the outside, but who they are on the inside. I think it's a very, very powerful message, and it's a film that I think everybody needs to see at least once. Kind of up there with movies like The Goonies, Gremlins, movies from my childhood that I'll never forget and I'll always want to keep on to. And it's one movie that I can honestly sit my kids in front of and say, this is a movie I would like you to watch because it shows a good message. So, I mean, that's one movie I definitely, when I have children of my own someday, hopefully, this is definitely one movie I would pick up. If you don't have it, I highly recommend going and picking you up a copy because it's a great movie. Great story. Great movie. Hope you enjoyed this review. And Merry Christmas.